What's up, everybody? It's Henry here, and welcome back to the 5 Daily Impulses, where we break down the biggest market movers so you can make smarter trades. Today is Monday, 6 a.m. September 9th, and we're kicking off the day with 5 key things you absolutely need to know before the opening bell rings in New York. Stocks futures on Wall Street are up this Monday as everyone's talking about how much and how fast the Federal Reserve might cut interest rates, especially after a weaker than expected jobs report. Boeing made a deal with its main union, which could help avoid a big strike. Meanwhile, Canadian company alimentation Couche-Tard is sticking to its $38.5 billion offer to buy 7EI Holdings, the owner of 7-Eleven, even though the Japanese company turned them down last week. First up, the VIX, also known as the Fear Index. The VIX measures how volatile investors expect the market to be in the near future. Right now, the VIX is at insert current VIX value, which is interpretation of VIX level high-low, indicating fear calm. Next, we'll check the CNN Fear and Greed Index, which gauges investor sentiment. It factors in everything from stock price momentum to market breadth. Currently, the index sits at 39%. There is some fear, but it can change. Finally, keep an eye on market volume throughout the day. High volume usually means strong conviction behind market moves, while low volume can signal uncertainty. Remember, these indicators are just tools to help you understand the market's mood. Don't base your investment decisions solely on them. The E-mini S&P 500 is at 168,000, the DOW at 17,000, and the NASDAQ at 76,000. So use them to plan your trading strategy for today. First impulse, futures are up. U.S. stock futures bounced back on Monday after dropping the previous session, all because a jobs report from August left traders unsure about how big the Fed's interest rate cuts might be later this month. By 0328 ET or 0728 GMT, Dow futures were up 188 points, or 0.5%. S&P 500 futures gained 29 points, or 0.5%, and NASDAQ futures jumped 137 points, or 0.7%. On Friday, the main Wall Street markets fell after the August non-farm payroll report showed the U.S. job market slowing down, making people think the Fed might cut rates big time during their next meeting on September 17th to 18th. Last week, the S&P 500 and Dow Jones had their biggest weekly drops since March 2023, while the tech-heavy NASDAQ had its worst decline since January 2022. In other news, Broadcom shares fell 10.4% after the chipmaker's Q4 revenue forecast didn't meet analyst expectations, dragging down other semiconductor stocks too. Second impulse, Fed rate cuts in the spotlight. Investor bets on a possible 25 basis point rate cut by the Federal Reserve hit 73% on Monday morning, according to the CME Group's FedWatch tool, which is closely watched by the market. Meanwhile, the chance of a bigger 50 basis point cut was at 27%, after briefly crossing 50% right after the jobs report dropped. These numbers show just how uncertain everyone is about how the Fed will react to the employment data. The report gives enough info for markets to keep guessing, said ING analysts in a note. While they're predicting a 50-point cut, they admitted it's a low-confidence call based on falling inflation fears and the Fed needing to act before the job market weakens further. Last Friday, Fed Governor Christopher Waller said it's time to cut rates, but didn't say much about how big or how fast those cuts might be. Third impulse, Boeing makes a deal with its biggest union. Boeing just reached a provisional deal with its main union, which includes a 25% pay raise. This move could prevent a strike that would put even more pressure on the already busy airplane maker. The deal, set for 4 years, not only promises a pay boost, but also plans to develop a new plane in the Pacific Northwest, better retirement benefits, and more union involvement in overseeing the quality of the planes. The union leadership, representing over 30,000 workers, is recommending members accept the deal. But if they reject it, and 2/3 vote to strike, workers could walk out by midnight on Friday. A strike would add heat to Boeing's new CEO, Kelly Ortberg, who's focused on fixing the company's finances and rebuilding its rep after the door latch incident back in January. Fourth impulse, Couche-Tard asks for new talks with 7-Eleven after their offer got rejected. Canadian company alimentation Couche-Tard is sticking to its $38.5 billion offer to buy 7-Eleven Holdings, even though the Japanese owner of 7-Eleven turned down their first proposal. In a statement, Couche-Tard said they still believe working together will lead to a deal that brings more value to Seven & I's shareholders. Last Friday, Seven & I's board rejected Couche-Tard's cash offer of $14.86 per share, saying it wasn't the best move for their shareholders. They also argued that the timing of Couche-Tard's proposal, which would be the biggest foreign buyout of a Japanese company, wasn't right and needed a deeper review. Fifth impulse: oil prices are on the rise. Oil prices went up on Monday, driven by concerns about a potential hurricane hitting the U.S. Gulf Coast and the market reacting to last week's job report. By 03:29 ET, Brent crude jumped 1.6%, reaching $72.17 per barrel, and U.S. WTI futures also rose 1.6% to $68.78 per barrel. Brent had dropped 10% by Friday's close, hitting its lowest level since December 2021, while WTI fell to its lowest point since June 2023, according to Reuters. The U.S. National Hurricane Center said over the weekend that a weather system in the Gulf of Mexico is expected to turn into a hurricane, possibly hitting the U.S. Gulf Coast, a key area for American refining capacity. Remember, the market is like a wild animal. It's unpredictable and constantly changing, but that's what makes it so exciting. The key to success is to stay informed, stay disciplined, and never stop learning. Read everything you can get your hands on, follow the news, and most importantly, get in the game. You don't have to be a Wall Street whiz to invest. Start small, do your research, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Let me know what you're watching in the market today. What's got you excited? What's got you worried? Let's chat. See you tomorrow. Happy trading.